the dead.
Rob bunch you to the dead.
Talk about the globe. Standing 10 toes with your theory to the test.
The theory to the test.
We be the SPS.
We be the SPS.
Rob bunch you to the dead.
Rob bunch you to the dead.
Show me what you know. Beliefs and principles. And say it with your chest.
And say it with your chest.
Melanin popping and we gonna see conversation, reality. What you want, we got what you need. A dose of the truth, a brick of the street. Gotta touch grass when you on this scene. Sometimes seem too gray to me. Either it is or it ain't. Gotta keep it tall. Small thoughts, R.I.P. Flawed in all. Righteous call. Grow folks tall. BS fall. Pull your stack. Break your guard. Stereotypes can't play this long. Throw your scripts against this wall. Talking points to your flaw. Legs too limb. Take this wall. Gotta keep it trill. Gotta keep it raw like yes. Or bunch it to the dead.
Rob bunch you to the dead.
Talk about the globe. Standing 10 toes with your theory to the test.
The theory to the test.
We be the SPS.
We be the SPS.
Or bunch it to the dead.
Rob bunch you to the dead.
Show me what you know. Beliefs and principles. And say it with your chest.
And say it with your chest.
Too extreme to ever be. We bring balance to how you think. Do it make sense? Will it really work? Put it to the test. Tell me what you seen. What you heard, will it really be? Did you fail? Did it succeed? Hey, what you want? Here's what you need. Get out your brain and get on your feet. SPS POD. RAW and we need you to tap that blue leak. Chop it up, tap it in, and let's speak. Let's see. The trap of the nerd. The high girl swerve. The wife, the husband, the bee. The single, the baddie, the righteous, the ratchet. All get a chance to speak. SPS. Or bunch it to the dead.
Rob bunch you to the dead.
Talk about the globe. Standing 10 toes with your theory to the test.
The theory to the test.
We be the SPS.
We be the SPS.
Or bunch it to the dead.
Rob bunch you to the dead.
Show me what you know. Beliefs and principles. And say it with your chest.
And say it with your chest.
Check. Let's get it. Welcome to the SPS Podcast. You are now tapped in with your host, DJ Strada, and we are here. It's the Raw Bunch, SPS style. When you come in, making sure you hit the like button, subscribe, share it to a friend. And we're going to get straight to the show today. So I'm going to first give you all the topic and talk about the questions I had, and I'm going to tell you what we're going to do tonight. So the topic for tonight was actually part 3 of a 4-part series. And so this part was going to be focused on marriage, right? So the concept for the show was going to be marriage, love, and legacy. And can Black love really thrive? So this is what I found, right? Last week, I invited a couple of guests. They were a little busy. And I was like, cool, right? Couple of guests, kind of the same thing this week. And what I found is a few things. This is interesting, y'all. I found that when we're talking about married Black couples, at least the ones that I know, I found 2 things to be true. Either one, they're very busy and focused, right? And so for that, I don't really hold them for that because I understand it, right? You know, I'm on my path to get married myself. And it's super busy. And I don't think that the work is going to stop once I get married. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of expected that. The other part that I'm thinking might be what it is that I think a lot of married couples are very private. And not private. What's up, Rita? And I don't think that they're private in the sense of, you know, they wouldn't talk openly about the questions I had. I think it's just a matter of once you found your person, a lot of people, when we're talking about planning steps, we're talking about combining assets, buying homes and stuff together. I think what normally happens is they get so locked in on their future that the idea of joining a panel with themselves and their wives isn't really the play. You know what I mean? Because I think that based on what I'm going to present to y'all tonight, you'll start to see that one of the biggest, in my opinion, one of the biggest mistakes that we have in the Black community is the transparency of marriage, right? And so I think it's fair that when I asked, like I said, I wasn't expecting to get a lot of people up here. In my mind, 1 or 2 couples would have been enough, right? But I can't keep pushing back the show because the series got to go on. But this was interesting. So I was looking up videos, right, for the show with the couples along with my questions, and I stumbled into something on TikTok. There's a trend going around now to where you have couples that are married, but in the videos, you'll soon see that a lot of people that are married don't like each other. And I ain't gonna lie, like that was kind of interesting for a few reasons, right? The first reason why I think that's interesting is because I think that a lot of what drives marriages before would have been the idea that we've been boyfriend, girlfriend for so long, let's try this thing together, right? And I don't think that was a bad thing. I think that's cool, right? But I think that when you start really thinking about all of the layers that comes with marriage, like the continuity, the fact that it's supposed to be forever, right? Ain't really no quitting that thing. I think that what you find is people that have been locked in for so long after the ceremony, and I'm talking about after you got married, right? I think that marriage flips a gear in people. And there are times throughout that relationship to where it might not have been there before, but you start to realize that, yeah, I might love you, but there are times where I don't like you. And I was like, that's interesting, right? So I'm pretty transparent in my story. I was married for years. I got a divorce. And as I was watching the videos, I was thinking like, can I relate? And I think if I'm being completely transparent, right, there were probably times in my marriage where I didn't really like my spouse. Be it for various reasons. I don't think it was any one thing, right? I just think that over time, nuances, behaviors, there's changes, there's ups, there's downs, right? So I can understand the sentiment. But I think what was throwing me when I was watching these videos is the reasoning seemed weird, right? And it wasn't the fact that they didn't like each other in these couples that I found that was disturbing. It was the sense of hopelessness that seemed to come after the like, right? That's the part that I found the most interesting. And y'all are seeing these videos. So what happens is I got a couple of videos to where, I got the woman's perspective of when they had the realization. I got a couple that actually, admitted it to each other. They didn't like each other. But I think that it's important to remember when we talking about marriage and building this community, right? As a man, like has no place in marriage, in my opinion. Like is akin to an emotion, and what you're doing is a little bit more serious than your emotions. And so because that emotion can come and go, basing your future off of that emotion is bad biz to begin with, right? A lot of times, and this is where it gets funny for me, right? I know couples that have been together for 10 plus years. They're not married though, right? But when they go through their ups and downs, it's almost as if the mentality of leaving isn't with them. And I wonder why. Like, I was like, well, maybe it's the seriousness of the marriage. So you add the pressure of this ain't a boyfriend, girlfriend thing. This is a forever thing. You put that on top of the fact we're locked in. I'm locked in with this person. And after knowing them for some years, you might get to the point where you're like, yeah, I really don't like them like that, right? And so I think that's fair, right? So I think that's a fair assessment, but I also think that it can muddy the water. What's up, Mahogany? What's good with you? Make sure you hit that like on the way in, Mahogany. You know the count. So I do think that, it can get funny very quickly, right? Because there's a seriousness to this thing that has to be bigger than your emotions, man or woman. Marriage ain't something that you just sign up for and leave out of. You know what I mean? And I think that with the conversations I hear on these panels, listening to different podcasts, what I notice is that I'm not surprised that we are in a space with each other to where we don't like each other. Like, I think that's what's alarming to me is that when I was looking at the videos, I wasn't even surprised at what I saw. Motherfuckers are arguing about gender wars, 50-50 shit. Like, I can go through a barrage of ideas that I see over and over again that would explain why I think that we at a place to where we don't like each other. So would I be surprised that people that are married don't like each other? No, it tracks. But it's the not liking each other. It's what you do next, I think, that defines whether marriages increase in sustainability or whether the divorce rate rises, right? That's truly the determining factor. What do you do after you don't like the person you with, right? So you planning a marriage, y'all planning a wedding. I'm talking about after the honeymoon phase is worn off. The new smell from the home don't smell as new as it did. You know what I'm saying? All of the future plans, you're in the progress of doing them. There is a monotony that comes with this. You can't ignore it. You can't get around it. Now, it looks different for different people. So for some people, the monotony is a good thing because there are other goals set in place. And because you're working on them daily, you get to a place to where the monotony don't bother you because you know, even in the monotony, there's continual growth towards something. You got other couples where I believe that the idea of marriage is kind of where your brain stopped. Let me explain what I mean, right? So when I was coming up, right, and being raised, one thing that I noticed later in life is that from kindergarten to my senior year of high school, it was always preached. It was preached to me to go to college. But then when I got to college, I realized, damn, the indoctrination, for lack of a better word, didn't get any further than just make it to college. So a lot of the expectations of what I thought the future looked like, you know, again, I knew in my mind I was conscious enough to want to get married, right? But in terms of where that parenting comes in, the advice from your elders, it was just like, yo, go to college. Cool, did that. Now you're like, now what? So I think what happens is when people start having this conversation about marriage, it stops short of just doing it. So it's like, just get married. What the fuck does that look like? Right? We're here now. Now what? And I think that you'll find over and over is that the lack of understanding of marriage for new couples can be daunting. That should have you overwhelmed and in your brain about something ain't that deep. There was a period where y'all was boyfriend, girlfriend, y'all were engaged. It was cool then, right? Like ain't had nothing to do with any of that. Because if your dislike for someone was that strong, you wouldn't have gotten a marriage. That's just the truth, right? So if you can't even overcome your dislike past the relationship through the marriage, it's going to be short-lived. Because you are basing, now I'm going to split this conversation up in a few, but as a couple, basing the longevity of forever on an emotion is a bad bet. Now, to my men, this is especially terrible for you because you can't move out of emotion with something this serious. My hierarchy, God, man, woman, child, right? So if you're following God and you in your faith, you develop the plan, you share it with your woman, y'all are implementing your plan. What the fuck do your feelings got to do with any of this? Depending on your religious beliefs, your God don't care about your feelings. In the Bible, the Most High was very clear with what he wants you to do and what he doesn't want you to do. He doesn't mention your feelings, right? And I think that when I'm talking to my fellas, sometimes what the ladies are missing in this conversation is when I say your feelings don't live here in these plans, they assume that it means that the man is supposed to be a cold robot. And that's not what that means. What I'm saying is you're going to have the feelings. They're going to be there. You can't stop them. But you can't allow yourself to live there or stay there. And more importantly, you can't even allow the feelings of your wife, because at this point y'all married, you can't allow it to dictate what you're doing next. Now, I'm not even gonna make this biblical, but biblically speaking, the only true means to a divorce is adultery. So if she ain't fucked another nigga, you kind of got to figure it out. But that's if you subscribe to something bigger than yourself. Secular, irreconcilable differences exist. And not liking somebody definitely would fall under what the courts would deem reconcilable differences. But why are we putting ourselves through headaches for things we are not prepared for? Why are you doing that? I think that for far too long, we have allowed what we see on social media and what we believe to be true to dictate life, and it's fucking us up. Your favorite podcaster, your favorite TikTok influencer, your favorite Instagram person you following, they by no means can really control what this real world is going to do to you. And you can fill your head up with all of the things to confirm what you were already thinking all you want. But boy, at the end of the day, but you and her in that marriage, I'm talking to men still, it's you and her. Them kids looking at her, she looking at you, you looking up. Your feelings ain't got no place here, unfortunately. And what I mean by that is your actions cannot be dictated by your fucking feelings. It's going to get you hurt. Even as a boyfriend in my current relationship, there are days to where I have ups and downs, right? I'm talking about this emotional shit, right? Why my emotions can't dictate none of this. Man, sure, they got a plan. We talk about it, right? So what I found is that with being with her, so let me be clear here. The emotions don't dictate what we do next, but I still have to acknowledge my emotions when talking to her about how I'm feeling about things, right? But that's a difference. I can articulate an emotion, process it, get through it, solve the problem, but it doesn't affect nothing that goes on in my decision making. It can't. It's too fucking fickle. Too fickle. Like, if I allowed every decision I made for me and my future wife to be dictated on how I feel for the day, we probably wouldn't last long. There are days where I don't want to do shit. There are days where I'm frustrated at my job. There are days to where I'm tired. There are days to where I'm like up on a high. There's days where, I get low. And so with all that in mind, I know that. So putting somebody through my emotional roller coaster as a man with the shit I endure is crazy. So, and when I'm talking up to the men, this is why I said it can't live there. Like it has no place in the structure of what you're trying to build. Now let's talk to the ladies. Ladies, your emotions are and have been a big part of you, right? Most men accept emotionally what they know you to be. And if you all have been through the boyfriend-girlfriend phase, you'll get married, y'all kind of already have an understanding, or he has an understanding about how you emote, right? So he understands when you happy, when you sad, shit you go through. He's already thought about all of that while trying to think about whether he want to make you a wife. So your emotions ain't nothing new to him, but it doesn't mean that you can't sway how the fuck this shit goes day to day, right? So as adults, I'm talking about ladies now. It's okay to have emotions. It's okay to express them. But while expressing them, understand that in this hierarchy, the more you rocking the ship, the worse it's going to get for the person, the man you want to lead you. And I think that the biggest thing, right, this is what I found. In most relationships I'm with, like a couple of things happen, right? So I'll have an old lady, right? Just for an example, I have any old lady. She goes through a day. She has feelings about things. She calls me about those things. We talk about them, right? Now, if I can't get her to a level of solution that works to resolve those emotions, that can carry on to how she coming home to, right? And so what normally happens then is if it upsets them that much, now what happened outside of the home is a part of the home because you haven't regulated yet. This goes back to the like. So again, we wait to all these videos. Trust me, I got a couple of videos I'm gonna go through before I end this live. But this is the importance of regulating of emotions. We're not telling you not to have feelings. Hell, we're not even telling you not to express it. But process it first. Because a lot of the things you think are problems only exist here and here for you. And here's what's funny, right? On the internet, I know people tout that women, like we talk about, what's it, EQ, emotional intelligence, women seem to have more emotional intelligence than men. Well, ladies, if you know that to be true, and you know that the man you with is a problem solver, this is where this like thing and these emotions can fuck a relationship up. Because you're bringing a problem to your man because you just want to emote and you want to share it with the person you with. His brain clicks into problem solving mode. So as you're talking to him, right, he's thinking through what you're saying. He's processing how you're feeling about it and a way to get you back to, let's say, a place of equilibrium. He's trying to get you back to your emotional equilibrium. He's trying to bring you from here to here or from here to here, right? So as you're talking, he's processing all this shit. His responses will be more problem solution based. Now think about what I just said, ladies. If you know your man brain thinks logically that way, any frustration you feel after you share that emotion is yours to hold alone. You expressed it. He listened, right? Whether he was all the way invested in the conversation or not, he gave a solution, probably to the best of his abilities. But if you still have that feeling of it ain't enough, that lets you know that you haven't regulated the emotion well enough to be talking to him about it to begin with, right? And I get it. I think when women are when you with the man you love, ladies, I can understand that as soon as you feel that emotion, your first thought is, let me get this phone. I got to call this dude, see what's up. I got to let him know what's going on with it. Have you thought about, what it is that is making you emotional at this moment and how you're going to process it? Have you even took time to even think to yourself, why am I feeling this way? What caused this? When I talk to my man, what am I going to express to him? What do I want him to take from this feeling I have? A lot of times you'll find that, ladies, if you slow this shit down before you make the phone call, the conversation of your emotions takes a back seat to you being able to explain it to the man you with. So there's no place for you to get frustrated with him because you've already kind of processed the emotions. Now you're just sharing how you feel about it, which to me is a lot better than, let's call it emotional vomit. Rose is good with you. Tony, what's up, bro? So I think that when we're talking about these feelings and y'all watch these videos, I need y'all to understand that there's levels to this things and there's things we can do to negate these issues from these videos ever happening. We'll walk through each one, video by video and kind of break them down. But I just want to give y'all kind of my layout of how I'm thinking about how this episode transformed from talking to couples to what I found on TikTok, couples that don't like each other. Because I don't think I've really heard or seen a lot of videos done from this aspect of it. And I don't even know if all the videos is clear about why these people don't like each other, right? But I just want to deal with the emotion itself and how it can fuck up something that's supposed to be forever. So fellas, your emotion has no place in your plans, has no place in how you worship God and how you lead your family. Ladies, you need self-regulation. So before you even get to a place where you want to talk to your man about how you feel about some shit, stop and think about what it is you're actually feeling. You can have the emotion and you can express it. But if you at a place to where you have the emotion and you instantly do this, you miss some steps. Because you got to think, the man you calling, he's not in the emotional place you in. So whatever has triggered you, made you upset, made you very happy, made you very sad, he's not going through that emotion. And if he fuck with you, when you call, he gonna pick up. He gonna listen to you, but you gotta think he doesn't have the same emotional tie to the situation that you do. But you gotta know that before you call him, right? So it starts there. Now what happens is you get enough of these exchanges back and forth, and when they done wrong, resentment starts to happen. And I think, like personally, I think that there's a progression that happens before divorce. I think it goes like this, in my opinion. It goes fear first, then it turns to resentment, then it goes to dislike, or so it might be fear, dislike, resentment, and then apathy. So what does that mean? Y'all together, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, it don't matter. Your husband and wife. Things start getting shaky, niggas start flinching. Women start flinching. Holy shit, I'm with this person. Our family watched us get married. We stood in front of God. We had all these people at reception, and this thing might not work. Now you're getting afraid. And what comes next? You get that level of resentment and that dislike that creeps in because now you're uncomfortable. And this could be a man or a woman. Now you're uncomfortable as hell, right? You're trying to deal with how am I processing the fact that this might not be forever and I might have fucked up and made a mistake, right? Next step. Because these problems don't just stop after you had a thought. The day is going to go on and you're going to be with the same person tomorrow. And guess what? They're going to be there the day after that and the day after that. Once you hit that realization, most people's brains go straight into resentment. Fuck you. You're not the person I married. You ain't doing you, I. And now we are in this track of mentality to where nothing gets course corrected. And now we just in chaos, right? So after resentment, then this is the worst part. So resentment and hate kind of go hand in hand, right? But then after that, you get to a level of apathy. Apathy is it's literally the lack of feeling. So most people think hate is the worst thing you can do to somebody. No, the worst thing that someone can do to you is be apathetic towards you. That means they don't give a fuck one way or another. And this is what you have, what I would call ghost marriages. People are together in habit. They're together in ceremony, but are totally separate in the way they think or how they feel about each other. Feelings aside, marriage is a duty. So I'll give you that, right? But where it gets funny for me is when you're apathetic about the person that you plan to build all this shit with, it makes it very hard for y'all to even get back to a place of contentment, right? And for men especially, like when your lady is apathetic to you, like that shit, you can't overcome it. That apathy, I don't give a fuck what happens. I'm just here. Now we're just counting down the ways to where we're going to break up / divorce. But once you get to that apathy, it is very hard to then step back over your fear, get back over your dislike and all this worry. Like it's hard to come back from apathy to get back to an emotional place to where y'all can even be cool anymore. That's where it get cold. You know what I'm saying? And I think that that's the part that jams most couples up. Is once you get the apathy, I think it's too late. And the moment you don't feel, you know, now this is when we talk about boyfriend, girlfriend. When you apathetic with the person you with, y'all are still dating, leave. When you marry, y'all got to retool some shit. Now you got to have these tough conversations based on what we're about to play. So with that, I'm going to get into, trying to think of which video I'm going to play first. So the first video I'm going to play with y'all, let's look at this young lady that in this video, she stated she knew her marriage was over the day she got married. Let's see what the hell that looks like.
Y'all want to know something funny? I knew my marriage wasn't going to work the night of my wedding. Granted, I knew it wasn't going to work before then, but I knew 100% it wasn't going to work the night of my wedding because the night of my wedding night, y'all, instead of sleeping in the bed with him, I slept in the bed with my sister, Alex, who was my maid of honor, right? So there's a lot more that goes into that story. But yeah, lo and behold, exactly 1 year later, We were separated, and exactly 1 year and 1 day after that, we were divorced. Well, always listen to your gut, y'all.
Think about what's just been said. The day of your marriage is when that ex-bride knew this shit won't gonna work. I'm gonna tell you the dangers of that. When you at that altar and you got that second thought, this is gonna sound messy as fuck. But you gotta be honest with yourself before you even get to that altar. Because at that point, now it's just showtime. All of the practice, all of the planning that went into you making a commitment, this is when you gotta start gut checking your fucking self. You don't wait until the night of the honeymoon to say it was always in my gut, because it was in your gut when y'all was dating. It was in your gut when he proposed to you. It was always in your gut. Why weren't you listening? Good point, Rose. Runaway brides. It happens, right? And I think that that's the reality, is that if we're being honest, when you're talking about something like forever, no matter your age, the idea is that you aren't supposed to exactly know how it's going to go completely. You ain't got no crystal ball. No one expects you to be perfect, but you have to be sure about something like this, right? Now, I got my ways of doing it myself, but what's interesting is that on the night you're supposed to be consummating your marriage with the man you just married, you sleeping with somebody from your bridal party? Why? Now imagine we're talking about the man in the scenario. I wonder, did he know or did he feel the same way? We don't have that from the video, but it's almost like what worries me or concerns me about that last video is the matter of factly, oh well, fuck it mentality. At some point, as a people, we gotta start getting serious about shit. This whole idea of I was about to get married, oh well, it didn't work, that ain't enough. What's up, Slim? Because this ain't for the light. This ain't for the light at heart. You don't halfway want to get married and then say, oh, I'm cool. Nah. And unfortunately, and this, again, if you haven't been married, this is something that you should consider, is that you're gonna naturally get nervous. That's okay. But the nervousness shouldn't come from the fact of, did I pick the right partner? The nervousness should be, I want everything to go right ceremonially for the people that are in attendance. Your nervousness should come from wanting to be a good host for the event to go well, not from the person that's at the altar with you. And at this point, if I'm being honest with y'all, I would much rather people just say at the point of engagement, at the point after engagement, I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready. What I thought I wanted, I'm not quite there yet. Before you get in front of the altar and you say, I do, separate what it is you're actually feeling and processing. Is a thought that I'm processing, this is the wrong person, or is a thought and process, I want the ceremony to go well? You got to know what the hell your butterflies are prior to getting at the altar. Money is spent. Chick has been bought. Family is in attendance. Right? It's a little wild to the person you're trying to get married to for you to go to the altar knowing in your brain, shit, this ain't it. Right? Now, it might hit you at different times when you're like, damn, fucked it up. Right? But I think that this is what we're talking about, where your emotions can't override your commitment. You know what I mean? Because that's money down the drain, straight up. Rose said, I'm not giving a care about them people in the audience. $1,000 for a cake to feed 3 people. I feel you. What's interesting is, Rose, me and my old lady, we got our plans to do it. Like, it's just going to be very intimate. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't really plan on we have our plans, right? I'll just say that because we've got a lot of people that watch the pod, both of our families. So, we got our plans. We know what we're doing. But to your point, it's like that butterfly feeling, like, because again, what I found interesting is that when she was reflecting back on it, her post analysis was, it was always in my gut. Well, why the fuck didn't your gut tell you when that man got on his fucking knees and said, would you marry me? It didn't tell you then. You were dating him. Was your gut not, you ain't had a bubble guts then? So it's after the ceremony's over, after you said I do, you knew, and literally think about what she said. A year after the marriage happened, we separated. A year and a day after that, we got divorced. What that tells me is that you probably had to stay together for that long based on the state she was living in, because most states require that once you separate, you have to be separated and in separate addresses for maybe a year or so, depending on the state you're in. And so that let me know that, again, she stayed long enough to where it couldn't get annulled, right? So I think depending on the state you're in, some states, they got like a 6 or 7 month window to where if after you get married, you decide this ain't it, and both y'all agree, you can get an annulment, no harm, no foul type shit. But for you to have to wait the whole year lets me know that even the period after, you still could have balked on it, right? So we saying, I don't think you should balk at all, but you still even have a window after I do to where y'all can make this shit, all right, cool, this ain't it for me. And that's fine, right? But what you don't do is wait that long and then you go in 2 years and a day to get divorced. I agree, Dolly. I think most people, we are at a place to where the ceremony is just way more important than even a marriage. Now, Rose, with the alimony, I think that depends on A, the assets that they had accrued together, and B, what state they in. Some people, and believe it or not, this is what's real, Rose, most people marry people that are in the same tax bracket. So motherfuckers be like, I ain't trying to get married, they're going to take half. Motherfucker, you marrying somebody to make just as much money as you. Y'all are pretty equal on that. Whatever y'all get together to marriage, you split up. So if y'all bought a house before or during the marriage, like, so you bought any property that's accrued after the marriage, depending on what happens, before you even get to the point to where the court is going to tell you what to do, there's another thing they'll tell you. If you were to go the divorce route, you all can declare to the court what you want to do. If y'all can't figure it out, they got mediation. If mediation can't figure it out, the judge decides, all right, this is what the fuck we're going to do. So even with the alimony thing, which I find a lot of people use as a way to be like, I'm afraid to get married. If we being honest, and if y'all are really listening, you ain't really got shit to be afraid of. Because the average person, I'm not talking about the people we talking about on the internet. I'm not talking about the people that are what we would call on the internet struggle love. I'm talking about the average earning black man, the average earning black woman. Most people are about 43 or 50 grand. You and your old lady, guys and girls. If y'all get divorced within that first year, y'all don't even make enough money to where a judge would be like, oh, you make significantly more. Pay this person alimony. That ain't even realistic. It's not. So the fear that you got, if that's what's holding you back as a man or a woman, there's a few things you can even do to that with that. So the alimony can't be what's holding you back because most people marry within their tax brackets. But let's say you happen to have accrued more before you got married. Cool. If the person you with, even if you had a doubt, prenup should be on the table, man. If you care about it that much, right? Prenup should be a discussion to have. But what you don't do is get up there at the altar, say I do, take everybody through this motherfucking rigmarole for you to be like, I'm cool. We could have just stayed the fuck home, bro. Y'all could have stayed boyfriend and girlfriend and broke up. This shit is not for the weak of heart at all, right? And so I think that even with the couples that I know that came up, they'd have told you what seems easy really ain't. And it's not that marriage is that fucking hard, because this is probably somebody you've been dating for a while, but there's a continuous progressive monotony to the day in and day out. I'm not saying your marriage will be monotonous. That's not what I'm saying. But what happens is the marriage is supposed to actually, when we're talking about from single to boyfriend, girlfriend to marriage, what the marriage does is it pretty much smooths out the edges. So all things that were unsure now become very clear. The duty I got to you is no longer girlfriend, now you wife. The world, the government, everyone looks at us as an entity that's together. I'm going to lead you through the rest of this life while I'm still breathing, under the guidance of God, right? So this ain't hard. So when I say monotony, don't confuse it with boring. No, it's just the same thing at an even kill place. And if we're being honest, as men and women, I think that if y'all are honest with yourselves in your fucking lives, if you think about all of the very highs you had in your life and the very lows, the key should be to strive for that level of balance. I'm not too far up, not too far down, but I'm progressively getting better. Marriage makes that easy to do. And I totally believe that to be true, right? There's things that you just don't have to worry about. That fear of, are they gonna, it kind of leaves, because it's like, yo, I've been rocking with you long enough to where we have decided to make this step to get married. So all of this unsure doubt, it leaves. Then you realize that we start getting back out to the earth, other people that are married, right? Your community of people that you now surrounded by that are married, they're encouraging y'all to stay together. They're giving you things that help you get better. The people that are single, you might not relate as much to the things they do because y'all so locked into what y'all doing. You ain't got time to be processing what's going on around you because now y'all are locked in on each other, right? It doesn't mean that y'all become hermits. You by yourself, and that's not what the fuck happens. It's just that now, you know, the man's thoughts of his path, which was there before she got there, includes her. That's really what changes, right? But all of that being stated, man, I don't like Monday morning quarterbacking from Shorty, which is you at the altar. Now that you are in a divorce, because you got to keep in mind, this video had to be done at least 2 years and a day from when she said, I do. Of course, it was in your gut now, because you got to justify why y'all broke up. And it's another thing. When marriages end, people come up with some of the wildest shit they tell themselves about why it didn't work, as opposed to being honest. I knew before I got up there, that shit wasn't that. You knew. But again, this is what I mean by careful what you consume. Now imagine how impactful TikTok is, or just videos, period. I don't know how many subscribers that young lady has, right? But imagine if, let's think about the people that can come across that video. So you can have a wife that might be in one of those stages we talked about earlier, to where she's in dislike of her husband. You listen to enough of those, and y'all know how TikTok do. Your ass will go down this trend, and for you know, you're in a rabbit hole of an echo chamber. The internet will send you down exactly what the fuck you looking for. This is the first video coming your feed. Damn. A young woman, you might say, hey, she look like my people. Well, I kind of like how she look. You listen, and she's telling you, I knew on the day of my wedding that this shit won't work. Year and some change, 2 years later, 2 years and a day, I'm out. What does that do to somebody that's already struggling to figure out what the hell they're going to do with the marriage? Now, what might not have been an option seems possible because you watch somebody else do it. Let's say you're single as a woman. You watch this video. Marriage might not be my bag. See, this girl just got married, and 2 years and a day later, she already getting divorced. This is the danger, not of her expressing what she went through. This is the danger of you consuming any of this shit that you're watching. It will definitely confirm a bias you already got. And if you ain't careful, it'll lead you down a road you didn't even know you wanted to walk. That's the part that's cold. You know what I'm saying? So we got to be careful what we consuming, but we also got to analyze it as we go. So I think the next video I'm going to go to is similar to the first one we just watched. And this is a wife that I think she might be in a stage of fear. But I want y'all to see what this looks like. So let's go through this video and see. Now, this one, I don't even know. I didn't watch all the video to see whether she stayed married. But I know she got more skin in the game than Shorty with 2 years and a day. So let's see what she was on.
It's just not worth it dealing with someone else every single day of your life. Every day. I've been married for about 7 years, and I don't even know if this is worth it. Like, and not saying that there's anything necessarily wrong. There's nothing wrong, and that's the point. Like, I don't even know why I'm upset. I'm just, like, not thinking that I made the right decision. Like, And I have a good man. I do. And that's not the point. The point is, it's like, you really do lose yourself. You lose your sense of individuality. You lose your sense of peace. And this could be even to a good man. Like, you're gonna lose something, and I don't think it's worth it. Like, at all. I've always had a dream of, like, getting out of my hometown, like, city, and moving on, like, moving forward. Like life is supposed to be experience. Like, we're supposed to be doing new things and traveling, and I don't know if I want to continue doing this every single day of my life. Like, always checking in with someone, always having to consider their feelings, it's always somebody else. You're never alone. Even if it's absolutely worth it, I don't think it is. Even if you found the most perfect man, it's not worth it. It's not. Like, it's always gonna be best to just, like, be alone. And maybe that's why so many men tell older women they're gonna be alone and be so sad. I'm sad with a great man. Like, imagine living a fairy tale, and it's nothing like you imagine it. You're living your literal fairy tale, and it's not what you want. It's not what you want. Even if you think that you want it, even...
Right. I agree, Slim. That's nuts. What I heard her express right then was her expectations not matching a reality. What was also interesting is the man she was with for 7 years, she even admitted for him to be perfect, right? Perfect for her. Let's just say perfect for her, that marriage. So you see how, again, we start talking about this fear and doubt. Like, these are the progressive steps. And it wasn't even a monotony. It was just what she thought marriage was. It became so overwhelming to her over time that now doubt is here. And what we just talked about earlier when I started this stream. Ladies, give yourself a chance to process your own thoughts. You know what you should have been doing? Not turning on your phone, doing a TikTok about it. Process it. What is it that you actually feeling? Fear. Why are you feeling afraid? It's not what I thought it was going to be. But what did you think it was going to be? It's going to be more of what it already was. You see what I'm saying? Dollar said it sounded like she wanted to be in the streets too. That's a fact. What do we call it? FOMO, fear of missing out. So you got all this fear built up in you after you've already been doing this for 7 years. Shit, most people can't get past the threshold of 5 or 6. That's when most people start getting that cold feet, or you start getting that infidelity shit creeping in. It's about year 6-ish. I think it's like 5 or 6. I don't know the statistics on that part. But again, you got 7 years in already. This ain't a new thought. This ain't a new feeling. You telling the world, have you told your husband any of this? Doubt if he feel the same way if you claim him to be perfect. And nothing that she named, if you listen to the video closely, it had nothing to do with him at all. Just her and her emotion. That's wild to me. I can only go off of what she said about him in the video. She said it was a perfect, I think was the word she used, perfect, right? So you're going to allow what you thought this was to interfere with what it could still become. Because this is where it gets funny. Let's think about what is happening here, right? You said you're married and it's not what you thought it was going to be. You got until the rest of your natural life to make it that. See, this is the part that nobody really says out loud when we start talking about this shit, like really talk about it, is there's still time to fix the shit. You acting like because you got this feeling right now, you can't go to your husband and be like, hey, is this what you expected it to be? Now, granted, if he already has told you, yo, based on prayers, blah, 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 this is the way we gonna move. Here's a plan for me to keep rocking, right? It already gave you the blueprint, at least an overall blueprint. That's the time for you as the wife, if you have anything you want to put into it, when he's explaining it, when he's laying this plan out to you, that's your time to put what you think it should be. But keep in mind, you're going to still place that burden on your husband, because now if he's going to consider it into his plan and his play, it might change the trajectory. But what you can't do is listen to the plan, say I do, he following God, you following him, and now you flinching. That ain't how that works. The plan was the plan. If he's perfect enough, I'm pretty sure he's perfect enough to have the plan already laid out. So you know it. What? It don't look like what you thought? Well, what you thought this was going to be? What did you think? Truly. But now peep how cold this is. Right back to going down the rabbit hole that you create for yourself. Let's say there's another black woman out there watching that shit, seeing that video, and now you overwhelmed by emotions from shit you ain't even going through. Think about how wild this thing is, right? And this is exactly what happened to me when I was on TikTok. I wasn't even looking for this video. And again, I was going to pivot to marriage, talk about another way. But this rabbit hole was so interesting to me. I'm like, yo, this shit is crazy. Like, people are really thinking like this. Damn. So I got sucked into the rabbit hole. You know what I mean? Just watching these videos like, yo, this shit. And there's so many of them on TikTok. And again, I'm going to end with one that's more, I got 2 more videos. But with her, again, this is where we talk about expectations meeting reality and fear. Fear and love can't exist at the same place at the same time, even if you're a woman. And as a fucking dude, again, these emotions gonna get you fucked up. Period. Right? Because your plans didn't involve any type of emotional planning at all. Why? Because they changed too much. Now, feeling content is something that most men strive for. We don't strive to be happy. We're not trying to be joyous. We're not out here trying to frolic every day. We understand our duty and our task to our wives and our kids. We know this. That doesn't mean we're not going to smile. So I hate it when sometimes I'm listening to these conversations. People try to make what you say so absolute, they forget that there's a lot of gray in between being happy and being a fucking robot. Most men's sweet spot is contentment. I'm led by my purpose to do said thing that I promised to my wife to make sure our kids are good. Getting and hitting those steps, it motivates you to keep going to the next step, all the while being content that you did it better and you lived up to your promise to him. This is more about duty. Fuck your feelings, bro. You got 7 years in him to do what? To leave and do what? Do it again? So you're going to leave him, get a divorce 7 years down the drain to do what exactly? Go fuck some niggas? Then what? What happens when that experience isn't what you expect it to be? Because it never really is. As the people we love casually talking about all this fucking, how fun it is. Then what? And if we being honest, if you honest with yourself, the beautiful thing about good experiences and new experiences is you shouldn't know what the fuck it feels like because you ain't did it yet. Okay? You've had sex before. You're going to chase some more of what you thought you missed out on. That fear of missing out be having people fucked up because the people you going back out to the streets for literally want what you want. So it's like we just keep trading places based on greed, based on fear, because we think looking on this side of it, that looks so much more enticing until you get the fuck over there. Then you remind yourself of why I was so happy when, and I guarantee you if this woman would think back in her brain, just process it for a hair a second more, I promise you, most women listening to this can relate. There's been a time, whether you're single, whether you're married, whether you're engaged, there's a time to where if you go back in your brain You can remember those feelings of when I was single, I ain't like that shit. I ain't like how that nigga did me. Or I remember when it wasn't nobody to roll over to. See, that shit don't hit you till after the divorce is gone, right? When you can't do it no more. But then you seem to forget that once you propose and the wedding dress comes off and the rings are on and, you know, it's given that tan around your finger, right? Then you start trying to reminisce. And again, this is the danger of looking at your past and why regret can fuck people up. Because our brains have a funny way of recalling things incorrectly or not as accurate as what it was. So I remember college, right? Again, I've been out of college a while, right? But I remember college, and in my brain, I have fragments of the fun I had. But I can promise you, if I sat here long enough and thought about college, I can remember those sleepless fucking nights studying for classes that I wasn't prepared for at the time because I was out partying the night before, chilling with the frat. Like, I also remember, so when I remember the college experience, I remember it concisely for what it was. It was a very daunting time in my life. I had so much fun doing it, but I don't just remember the party hops and the frat parties we threw in the step shows. That was just one aspect of it. I also remember the classes, the professors, the tutoring sessions, the study groups, the all-nighters. I remember being delirious out of my mind because you're trying to get all this information in to make sure that you get the right grade. If y'all that are in relationships or you thinking about getting married and you have that itch in the back of your brain, damn, I wonder what it's like to be single. Remember all of being single, not just the parts you want to. When you're thinking about how good the sex was, think about all the nights in between the person that happened before you found the person you liked enough to fuck. That loneliness. That calling people and they're not answering because they either married or with their peoples. They married in their relationship, so can't even get up with them. You see what I'm saying? Think about all of it when you're thinking about this regret y'all think y'all have. Because it's deeper than just this emotion that will pass over time. I promise it is. It always is. But in the moment, it's so easy to forget about what it is you think you're missing out on. What are you missing? When this proposal comes, I promise you what happens is when this proposal comes, the reason why you said yes is because you remember what it was. Appreciate you, Rose. Be blessed, love. Hit the like on the way out. I promise you, when a proposal happened and you start thinking back on what was, you're going to think about, if you really thought about it, you think about, damn, I'm so relieved I don't have to be single no more. 7 years later, you think it's going to be different when you go back? You think you're not going to get tired again out there? Make it make sense. Now, if this shit ain't for you, if you're not trying to get married, that's cool. That's fine, right? But stay single and don't complain about that either. But stop longing for things that you've already experienced. And if you're going to think about it in totality, not just the parts people love cherry picking things that they want to remember and they want to romanticize what it was when it won't really that. I used to love clubbing, but I started really thinking about it. The pre-games, the late homeboys, the entry fees, the fights, the spilled drinks, the drunk motherfuckers. Like when you start really thinking about the actual experience, you're like, yeah, that shit was fun because I was that age. I'm too fucking grown to be playing with people, other people, kids, in somebody's club right now. Can I do a lounge? For sure, right? So even if I have the urge, and see, this is the beautiful part about marriage. When you're married to somebody and it's forever, any experience you think you're missing out on, you can do it with the person you're with. And if you start thinking about it, what it is you actually missing, it might just be the vibe. You might be like, damn, I just missed the vibe of a club. You know, your person, and I say person because this could be either a man thought or a woman thought. This is probably more of a woman thought. So as a woman, be like, yo, I just miss going to the club vibing. You and your husband to get dressed up. Y'all motherfuckers spend all day in line. And by the time you get back to what you thought was nostalgic, you're going to remember why you're not there no more. It hits you very quickly. This is exactly why I don't fuck with this shit. I thought I wanted that. But temporary experience with the person I'm with, that's enough. I don't have to go back out to the streets to then realize then that, fuck, I really didn't like this. Too late then. Now you got to do it all over again. Or you can be bitter and cold about it. Fuck it, I ain't getting married again. Fucked it up. I ain't doing this shit no more. All right, want to stay single. Choices and trade-offs. We all have them. I think the next video I want to go through is a couple. So let's go through our progressive steps. The first video we watched was of a woman that on day one at her ceremony, she decided, fuck this. And then afterwards, she justified it by saying it was in my gut that won't it. Then we just watched the lady that had been 7 years in with a guy. And she was like, oh shit, this ain't what I thought. I don't know if I want to do this. You're panicking in your car. Probably ain't even talk to your man, but you're telling TikTok strangers for views and likes to monetize your page if that's what her intentions are. This shit is all out of order. Now let's go to trying to think what I want to pivot into. Let's go to a video that seemed like something based on someone chasing the search engine, and then we'll get to our last productive video. So let's watch this one. This one is of a lady that kind of had a similar experience as the last two, but I want you to watch this video all the way to the end because I think something interesting happens.
You see the viral video where this woman reveals the truth about being married, and you got to watch it all the way to the end.
I hate being fucking married. I long for the day to be single again. This shit is not fucking gold. And no matter how much I try, no matter what I do, at the end of the day, I still just want the fuck out. I want to be single. I know I can love myself better alone than anybody can love me with them. I love who I am, but I do not love who I am with this person. I hate being fucking married. And on my life, once this shit is over, I would never fucking get married again.
But hear me out. After she said all that, then she said this.
You ask him for $20 after screaming to the world you hate being married.
And after she did that, she posted this.
Since y'all know every damn thing, what kind of lighter is this? God damn. Melt your fucking eyebrows.
What do you think? Do you think this queen's marriage really represents what marriage is really all about? Leave a comment to let me know. I'm Tierica with the T. Follow for more.
Thought that video was interesting for a few reasons. Without the proper context, you would think that if you were a man or a woman watching that video and you had the same sentiments, if you didn't watch the rest of her archive of videos, you would think she was on the verge of signing up for a divorce right then, right? Fuck this, it ain't me. I can't. Next video, you asking that same man that you own your life gonna leave for $20. And you can see in that man's face and posture, he watched that video. They probably talked about it and everything. What are we willing to do for views? What like, is there a line to this shit anymore? You willing to cap in front of your YouTube audience for what? This is why this emotional shit can get you fucked up. Because here's what's funny. Even if we want to give credence to emotions, right? Let's say she doesn't record that video we just saw, but it's a thought in her brain based on the emotion she has. If she's able to think that way, process it, talk to her husband about it, there might be something underlying as to why you're feeling that way. You might get past it. But guess what? If it's just a thought you processed by yourself before you went to your man, now we can actually build on some shit. Now you can have time to think it, process it, and then articulate it. Now something we can fix, and that's not a TikTok video to see. But now what are you doing? Now you are reaching out and grasping on the people that feel that same fucking feeling you got, and you finding ways to confirm your biases. And guess what? She recorded that video. Think about how many women probably watched that video on the same train of thought she had that took it a step further than she did. They watched her video. That might have been the one that she's like, you know what? Fuck this. I feel just like she does. I'm going to get a divorce. You in the middle of getting your separation just to find out 5 videos later, she asking that same man she said she going to divorce for $20. They're laughing about crackhead lighters. Listen, man, few things I'm learning to be true. Before you jump on YouTube or anything in this phone that you got, you better make sure you know your thoughts. Because the people that are putting them in your brain based on what you're consuming might not be what it is, might not be what it look like, might not even be what you want. Right? And so I'm not doing these videos to scare you away from marriage, but I need people to understand that this is why I said these emotions have no place in something as serious and as saintly a marriage. They don't. No. Emotions are things you experience that you're supposed to process. Now, you can do something with emotions after you having them. And so no one's saying that marriage is going to be roses and bubbles and you won't get frustrated. Clearly from these videos, frustration might be a part of your marriage. Right? So having the emotion, I'm not even here to demonize people for having them. It's what you're doing after these feelings that's fucking me up as I'm looking at a community that I want to help. Y'all know if you watch this channel long enough, I think the key to most of this shit is for us to get married. It's for us to have children in these marriages. It's for us to figure this shit the fuck out. Even if you got to blend them. So, I'm not even here to tell y'all how to do it because I don't want to get caught in the rhetoric of what I see every day, right? But I do think that marriage is a big part of it. But we got to have a conversation honestly and fully for those that are thinking about marriage. And I got to be very clear when I'm talking to y'all, when I'm being a proponent for it. Because you need to be very clear on how I'm thinking about this thing. I'm not a rose-colored glasses dude. Nobody said it was easy. Who the fuck told you that? Saving your soul ain't neither. Getting the job you want won't easy either. Overtime ain't easy either. I can think of a million other things that ain't easy. Why is this any different? And see, what fucks me up is when people are in this train of thought of it ain't easy. When you start comparing what is currently not easy in a marriage to everything else in your life that won't easy, you'll find that some of the most satisfying things came on the other side of you, pushing through that resistance. That push, once you get past it, you're like, damn, I'm glad we got through that. This ain't no different, bro. We try to make it different. It ain't. Something to push through, something to endure through. You correct along the way. But again, these fucking emotions, just not liking your partnership is corny. That was never a requirement for you to be engaged. It's never a requirement for you to be married. And it has no sustainability with y'all staying that way. Chasing happy is not a good thing, ladies. Fellas trying to keep her happy, also not a good thing. You are responsible as an autonomous adult on regulating your own emotions. Now, we can share and joy together, right? Because no one's marrying somebody they don't love. So we're not saying that emotions don't exist. I think people that say that is kind of wild too, right? You with them because you love them. No one said anything about happiness. They can probably get on your fucking nerves. And that's okay too. Because guess what? If it had to happen anyway, I'd rather have been with you. That's why I put the ring on you. And if anybody got something different, please let me know. If you single, and as a single person, you have found a way to maintain happiness from your last relationship all the way to now, and you are just internally happy being single, and this is where you are constantly staying at, please let me know. If you're a boyfriend, girlfriend, if you found a way to maintain this secret sauce for just every day being happy, please let me fucking know. Why do you think marriage is any different? It is a plan to do life with someone in front of your creator for the long haul. Nothing more, nothing less. I ain't even here to complicate that part of the shit. But we ain't gonna lie. Which is why I wanted to tackle this part of the conversation this way. Because far too often, no one is saying these hard things, that there will be very difficult and tough times while you're married to the person that you loved, that might have been cool a month ago, might have been cool a year ago. Give you and your partner a chance to grow and change. Embrace the change. Have the feeling, process the feeling, process it and figure out where that lands in your greater scheme of things. But don't stay there. What you chasing? Emotions? Can't be it. And enough. It won't sustain you. No matter what emotion you think makes you feel good, that dopamine release is gone like that. So the chasing of the feeling of happiness will put you always in a place to where you're not honest enough to actually deal with what's in front of you. Because you're chasing something that is too tough to sustain and it's not even realistic. It's the truth. Now, I do got one more video for y'all I want to go through. And this one is, all right, so let's follow the progression. Woman, married, knew from the day that she started, from her wedding day, that the man she chose wasn't going to be the man she was with, got divorced. We progressed into a woman, married 7 years, coming to the conclusion that what she thought, her perception, didn't meet the reality. Then we progressed into a woman that had the thought temporarily, but then also showed us that her and her husband was on good terms, right? So now let's watch what happens when we have two people that are married that actually have the conversation with each other. What does that look like?
I asked you, I was like, do you like me?
Yeah.
And you were like, you were honest. You were like, no.
I was like, no. I would like choose you as a friend.
Dang, I was like, God, no. Like, you know, we were married for 10
like him.
and you don't like me. I'm like, God, like that hurts. And then she was like,
I love you, but I just didn't like you.
Yeah. And then she was like, she was like, you know, do you like me? And I'm like, honestly, like, just being truthful, no, I don't.
Yeah.
And do with this? Do you get a divorce?
Yeah.
Or do you try to work it out? So our thing was, we just made a decision. We were like, okay, well, let's get to know each other again. Let's just kind of see how it goes.
And let's be brutally honest. I remember us saying that. Like, let's be very honest with.
Now, I will say, I like that video. I would have did a little different, but I do like what they did. So their whole thing was, let's have an honest conversation about the feeling. Do you like me? Nah, not really. You like me? Nah. This is after 10 years though, right? So let's put it in all the context. We've been married for 10 years. We look at each other one day. Somebody asks, do you like me? The honest answer is no. When she asked him, his honest answer was no, I don't really like you. I love you, but I don't like you. So they started it over, right? So I'm assuming that probably went into them dating each other again, them having more serious conversations about, let me get to know what it is that I think I don't like. And it might not be that I don't like you. It might just be you changed a lot from what I remember you to be. Back to that selective thing that we do when we're always digging in the past out of fear. Damn, I remember what it used to be, but you don't remember all of it. You can do that with the person you're with. To where y'all get in this routine to where you assume that you know them so well that you forget that they've been growing just like you have. Time affects us all differently, right? So their idea about it was to, start it over, so to speak. They stayed married, and it was like, okay, yeah, Scam, I was actually talking about it earlier, like people don't like each other. Like that's been the premise of the whole show, bro, is that people don't like each other. And I'm starting to see, based on these videos, that might be more true than it's not. But they decided, okay, let's start this thing over. Let's try dating again, which I think was cool. I think that my only adjustment I would have made to what they were doing is having the conversational awareness or having the emotional awareness to have the conversation before it gets to the point where both y'all are having the epiphany. somebody had this thought first. I don't really like you like that. How long did that go on in the marriage? Now, they were married 10 years. We didn't know when the like or the unlike creeped in. You have no fucking clue. Thank God they asked the question, right? But think about how many people don't. You're just there because it's routinely something to do. I think we do relationships this way. I think we do marriages this way. I think we do a lot of things in our life just out of the habit of doing it. But you are not conscious or even aware of what the fuck it is you're actually doing. Do it because it's something to do. Marriage ain't no different. There'll be times with the person you with, you don't like them. And that is okay to do. What's not okay is for you to have that thought. You ain't processed it. You ain't talked about it with the person you claim you want to do forever with. Because most people, see, this is the thing. This is a secret they don't tell you. I'm about to give y'all a life secret. YouTube will never tell you. This is funny shit. The person you chose to love, they're actually considerate. Oh, don't slow down now. Don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, but listen to me. The person you chose to be married to is considerate of you. What do I mean? If you at a point in a marriage to where y'all don't like each other, but you love each other based on what they said, that like can be overcome by a few minor adjustments. Because what normally happens is when we're in relationships, period, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, we think that this commitment means that we should endure things longer out of the duty of what we signed up for. And that ain't really how it goes, honestly, right? There's a duty that is there, correct? But that doesn't mean that you endure until you hit your threshold where now you just wilding the fuck out because you're sick of this shit. Well, you're only sick of it because it happened 20 times before you said a fucking thing about it. But the person you're with is more considerate than you think. Hey, babe, you remember when da-da-da-da-da? Be honest with you, man. No. I didn't really like that move like that. You did it, I thought about it. I was like, well, shit, why? And I came to the conclusion, I just don't like it. You know what I mean? I think how we moving, I don't really like that. And normally, fellas, your wife is going to be like, I didn't think about that. How can I adjust it? Ladies, the same thing. If your man, your husband is doing something that you don't like, right? And he's telling you, you know what I mean? I don't really like that. What's up? Shout out to my Jewel Tell. Will, what's good, brother? Hope all is well with you. 06 to the bros. What you'll find is that, ladies, when you bring this to your man and you like, yo, you know, I don't like when da-da-da-da happened. He's probably going to be like, well, what happened? Think about what you're saying. And he's considerate enough about you, being with you, to make the adjustment because it's really that simple. What you don't want to do is allow these steps to creep in based on the things you didn't correct earlier enough. So when that like compiles, it then starts turning into a fear. Holy shit, I went from loving this person now, I don't really like them. They keep doing the same shit over and over. I ain't gonna say nothing to them though. And that resentment comes in. This motherfucker, I'm like, fuck up out of here. Now you on TikTok watching all these videos we watched before, and before you know it, you at the place of apathy. You don't give a fuck about the person you with. Too late then. Feelings have a place in emotions. Emotions have a place in marriages and relationships, but they have to be placed in their proper context, which is I had the emotion, I processed it. So I had the emotion, I processed it, thought about it, communicated it. But if while you have the emotion, you don't even have the regulation to be able to say it in a paragraph form, you probably need to process it a little more. Because a lot of times if y'all think I'm tripping, when you're talking to somebody that's super excited about something or someone that's super pissed about something, it is probably the most incoherent thing in the world to listen to if you wasn't there. When your kids, if you got kids, and they just did something super exciting that you wasn't there for, trying to make sense of what they're saying is crazy. Yeah, because daddy, and then I did it. You're like, yo, whoa, slow down. What happened? People do the same thing when they upset. Man, I can't do it. Oh, what happened? You pissed. Same thing. Yo, what's wrong? I'm gonna talk about this shit, bro. And now I gotta get through you still trying to process the emotion and listen to what you're trying to tell me. Which is why I said the key to this emotional thing is not regulating like be a robot. What it is give yourself time to process what the fuck you're actually going through. Think about how it affects you, and then communicate with the person that loves you. They'll be considered enough to hear you, and if they can help you, they will. But here's another key thing. Fellas, use this. This is another jewel. When you're speaking to somebody, when you're speaking to your old lady, and you hear she's in an emotional state, you have to ask her 2 questions. Baby, do you want me to listen, or do you want my help? So are you trying to vent, or do you need a solution? What this does is it allows your old lady to think about how she wants to articulate this emotion to you. What do you want me to do with this? Am I just here to be a listening ear to you? Or is your emotional state something I can help you with? I can help solve this. And a lot of times and again, y'all think I'm fucking crazy. You trust with anybody. When you hear that emotional shit building up, because again, they have the emotion you don't. By you asking them, what do you want me to do next? Am I just listening to you, or do you want my help? It pauses them. Whatever emotion they brought to you, they literally pause and they think about what you just said. Damn, what do I want? Because most people don't get to that thought before they open their mouth. You don't even thought about, well, damn, do I want somebody to just listen to me right now? Or do I need help to stop feeling like this? You don't know because you ain't asked the questions. But fellas, regulate it in a way that makes sense, in a way that you can process it and she can explain it. You trying to vent, or you need my help with something? What's going on? Which one you want to do? And no. So you need to listen? You need a solution? No, not really. And most people are just like, they'll answer the question so quickly, but what it does for you as a listener is it makes it so that you're not getting in the way of them emoting. Meaning, if you think about it, fellas, if your old lady is emotional and she wants you to listen, and you stopping her every 2 seconds and say, well, shit, baby, why don't you just do this? Nigga, she ain't asked you. Or if all she wants to do is vent and you're not even listening, you ain't even listening to what I say. Now she just found another reason to get mad at your ass. Because whatever it was that had nothing to do with you, it already pissed her off. Ignore. Right? And again, how you process your old lady emotions, that's on you. But at least be attentive while she's telling it to you. If you haven't mastered the skill of multitasking, and you one of them dudes the way you get lost, focus. It really costs you nothing, right? And then on the other side, let's say there's an emotional situation she wants your help with. If she really needs your help, and the best thing you got for her is, damn, that's fucked up, babe. Hey, were you listening? I thought you thought. Did you ask? And again, these things clear up so many misunderstandings. But I think that when we're talking about marriage, what I think people that have been married a long time have figured out is that they keep their misunderstandings, the windows very short. When they have the misunderstanding, there's a time they process, there's a time they figure out what the hell they're doing next. But all of this falls in line with the plan they already had. Marriage is not the ultimate Mario star that's going to make you power through the rest of the levels of life and get to the end. That ain't what the fuck it is. It's a way of solace. It's a way of changing your trajectory. It's a way to build something for the kids that y'all got. It's a way to pass down legacy. It's a way to get there a little quicker with somebody that you fuck with. That's it. right? It can be a beautiful thing, but don't go into this being jaded one way or the other. No one's out to get you. There's no boogeyman person on the other side of that ring that's going to stick you up for all your worth. And this ain't roses and bubbles either. Like most things, it's somewhere in the middle. And when you get to, before you get to what is romanticized in a bad way, we're talking about these nasty drag out divorces. By the time you get there, there's so many steps that was missed before that it can easily be corrected. But you got to remember, the fear you're feeling from some of these videos, if the fear you have that you're processing comes from something that happened in the past, make sure you remember with clarity everything that happened and not just cherry picking a life you used to live. Just do that part. So if you married and you was thinking about what it was to be single, please remember all the days you were single, not just the ones that were fun. Comparing to where you are now. You're thinking about, holy shit, I did something, I fucked this up, right? Like, so, and again, you find that the more you are honest with yourself about the things you think you're missing, you realize you're not really missing them as much as you thought. And again, that feeling, that emotion, can easily be filled with the person you with. You think about the memory hard enough, you probably don't even miss all of it, right? You're like, damn, I miss being in the club. Well, you don't have to be single to go to the club. I wouldn't recommend going to the club as a married couple, but again, I'm not here to tell nobody what the fuck to do in your relationship. That's on you. But you can still get that same vibe, that same energy, and to do it with the person that you fuck with. Or don't, right? There's people where it's like, I'm going to go to the club with my homeboys. Cool. But you can do that and still remain faithful, right? Multiple things can happen at once. But don't cheat yourself out of forever chasing a past memory. Because 9 times out of 10, you're not remembering exactly how it happened. You're not considering all of the memory. You're just cherry picking what the fuck you thought you remembered, and you miss it enough to go chase it. You get there and then you realize, fuck, I didn't like that as much as I thought I did. Too late now, divorce. Too late now, your marriage is fucked up. You're chasing something that really wasn't real. You went down one of these rabbit holes, and now you're finding a way of internal biasness that shouldn't have been. And that's some cold shit to get yourself out of. So before you dig the hole, man, fellas, look up. Ladies, look up. Fellas, look up to creative. Ladies, look up to the man that, you know, you're with. Fellas, be wise in your counsel. Stay the task. Marriage ain't easy. Never meant to be. Right? Don't be disillusioned about what you're doing. There's a lot of great on that other side, I promise you. Right? You know, as a father, that's one of the things I look forward to. I got a daughter now. I look forward to the day that man proposes. To watch her go through what I was. I would much rather live my quote unquote past than watch her grow up. I ain't got to go through that shit more. You know what I'm saying? I can prepare her for what I can remember. Like, yo, don't do it like that. Try like this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is, you know, she can watch me and my future wife. She'll be able to watch to see what being a wife means. And that brings it that much more closer to her being a reality. You know, me and my ex-wife, we co-parent well. She's on her way to get married. And again, so on both sides of at least my scenario, my daughter gets to see what 2 different marriages look like. You know what I'm saying? That's important to me. But again, I'm not getting married because of my daughter. But I do think that's a cool little, you know, side piece to it, is that she gets to see 2 different dynamics of marriages from her father and her mother with 2 different people. Right? And so again, as a man, I can have these conversations with y'all honestly, cop to all of the things that I did wrong, but still can give you the lessons out of the fuck up, which is why I can identify them steps we talked about earlier, which is why I can even identify, as badly as I hate to admit it, with the sentiments of the video. Not the way they did it, but again, as somebody that's been divorced, I've been there, been on, you know, all sides of it. That's why I can walk these stages down to, or why I fucked it up, you know. But again, my messaging comes from my real life experiences. This ain't something I'm making up, pulling out my ass or telling you, right? And again, your marriage, it would, like, Black people get married, it does a great thing because it gives my daughter a few things. It gives my daughter friends that are around her age that are also centered, right? It makes it so that when she's trying to find a husband, this ain't as hard because we can find people that are also like-minded and raised the same. It helps me get to my financial goals with somebody I love very quickly, right? I could do life with somebody I fuck with. Like, that's all those things are important. I love going around seeing Black people together, seeing people married. Like, this is why I push to this so hard. But I have to be honest with y'all, as somebody that, you know, fuck it up. Believe it or not, some people it makes them jaded, but it actually made me appreciate it more, right? And so, you know, I got a different understanding, and so this is always going to be the message here at SPS is Black families, get them back together, prepare them, do what you got to do, right? But doing it alone ain't working no more. And we talk about Marriage, Love, and Legacy, which was the original title of the show. Those things happen with honesty and purpose, with a regulation on the emotions, and for the man to know where those reside within your guidance of your family. That's all I got for y'all, man. I hope y'all have a great evening. Like I said, it was a short pod. Again, I still, for the next pod, I'm still thinking about what I'm going to do, a community style or what I'm going to shift gears. But y'all make sure y'all tap in every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I might do more of these one-on-ones for another day, but I'll be sure to let y'all know. But stay tapped in, man. I appreciate y'all rocking with me. We will have the panelists back, but you know, every now and then I'm finding that the structure shows that I have, a lot of them will be guest dependent, right? But there's also a lot of things that happen throughout this earth where it's like I can do a solo pod because, you know, if y'all been rocking with me since Facebook, y'all know I've been talking to y'all since I was in my Camaro. You know what I mean? I've been doing this for a long time, and you know, there'll be times where I just have thoughts when I'm giving y'all. So this ain't nothing different. So, you know, I want to up the content, but also still be very strategic and the guests we allow and what we're talking about. So there will be days where we have panels, shows where they're open to where it's like I don't mind anybody coming up and talk to me. There'll be other times where there'll be a closed panel because I want to have the conversation with very specific people that got skin in the game. And there'll be other times where I might just do solo shows. So, you know, we got some great things planned. The future for the SBS is bright, man. Shout out to Sporties. There was a time where I was going to pause. Got a lot of things going on in my life. He was like, you know, the consistency is just keep doing it. Like, slow up, but don't stop. I was like, damn, that resonated. So shout out to Sporties, man. But y'all have a great night, safe night. Have a great weekend. You know, mindful. Make sure you're guarding yourself with the information you're consuming. What's up, Troy? I'll definitely give you advice, bro. We'll have to figure out the topic you want to talk about. But, you know, be mindful of what you're consuming out here. There's a lot of things going on the earth. Catch yourself before you go too deep down a rabbit hole to confirm your biases. Keep your mind open. Keep your path clear. And keep your eyes up. With that, y'all have a good night. Peace.
But she hard to find, cut from the cloth, her couture line, her contour lines, her for silhouette, behind the dull eyes. You see this half caught when my wrist flex. She ain't even blink, cause she ain't impressed. Don't need your bread, cause she got that. Need a hustling hand, she provide that. Haven't seen the mind that resides in the face. With a body up your game, she a whole upgrade. Fuck with shorty, she hit you with the whole up face. Yeah, she from the hood, so she know all the games. She know how you jug, know when you straight. She ain't got a lot of time to fuck around the waist. Fingers intertwined with the hands of time. For this moment, baby, you could be mine. Right? with your chillin' persona. Double cup marijuana, whatever's bringing together. Let no man bring us under. The night's almost over, and the cover's upon us. And I'm digging you deeper, you whisper, dig a little further. I'm digging inside the crevices of your mind. Your third eye screams, it climax with mine. So for the first time, I'm so goddamn high. My pineal gland show me love is blind. Bitch, you soft behind with the high divine. Pluck and suck your grapes straight from your insides wine. Are we coming or going? Too tight to the side. I'm deeper inside, gliding side to side. So you match my mind and I match your fly. Heaven watch, so the vibe is right. Potent and strong.